Ever since I was a child, people said my family was cursed. We never talked about it. And I don't know if my brothers and I believed it back then. But bad things kept happening. Mom tried to protect us with God. Pop tried to protect us with wrestling. He said if we were the toughest, the strongest, the most successful, nothing could ever hurt us. I believed him. We all did.
Okay, we're going now. Let's go.
Hello and welcome. Welcome and hello. This is Wait, You Haven't Seen? It's a show where we talk about movies, and specifically, we talk about a movie at least one of us had never seen before. I'm your host, Travis, aka TV's Travis. This is episode number 353. And the movie this week from 2023 is The Iron Claw. And here to talk with me about it, because he wanted me to watch it, from the Horns Over Hoops podcast, it's Dan. Dan, how you doing?
Pretty good. How are you?
I am doing all right. All right, so before we dive into the movie itself, what is your history with this movie and or even like the story of the family involved?
So I knew a little bit about the family involved, just because I started watching wrestling around the Attitude Era, like in the middle of the Attitude Era.
Mhm.
For people who don't know what the Attitude Era is, it's like I think it started in like 95.
Yeah,
I think it
around there.
started in the WWE.
95 to 97. It was right in there.
Yeah. So I started watching wrestling around probably around like 98. So yeah, I knew a little bit about the family. And I've never seen this movie before in my life. I watched it for the very first time yesterday. I watched it with my wife. She didn't know anything. She doesn't know about wrestling like at all. Describing the movie to her, I just told her like, well, do you know about the Kennedy family? And she said, yeah. And I was like, well, they're pretty much the Kennedy version of wrestling.
That's a pretty good way to put it. Yeah, I would say that. So I definitely, when I was younger, I watched a lot of pro wrestling. I grew up and like initially it was the tail end of sort of the rockin' wrestling era, the Hulkamania, all of that in the late 80s. I was a kid and it was like Saturday mornings was cartoons and then wrestling. And, you know, you had these larger than life personas with Macho Man Randy Savage and Hulk Hogan and Yokozuna and Roddy Piper. And it was just, and there was a cartoon for a while, Hulk Hogan's Rockin' Wrestling. So, you know, I watched that and I continued like watching wrestling up through probably the early 2000s off and on. I didn't follow it religiously, but I definitely paid attention. Mostly WWF. That was just what was popular. Being in Michigan, that was kind of the closest to what we would have had as a territory, really. Unless you, I guess Minnesota had a territory, but I wasn't big into like the minutia of pro wrestling necessarily. I knew WWF and I knew WCW and kind of that explosion. But over the years, I had learned about the Von Erich family. So the Iron Claw is the story mostly of one, but it's of the whole Von Erich family, which were calling them the wrestling Kennedys is kind of a great way to put it because they really were a family that they owned Texas. They had the Texas, Dallas area territory. For those that aren't familiar, pro wrestling, as it is today with sort of big national companies, didn't happen until the sort of WWF in the 80s and consolidation. Before that, it was regional territories. And there was the National Wrestling Alliance, the NWA, which was kind of an overall body that paid attention to all the territories. But everybody had their own promotions. You had Dallas had it. There was one in Memphis that was Jerry Lawler's promotion. And that was sort of how it worked, right? You worked a territory. You might travel around to different ones, but
and Vince Vince was just up in New York, and then you had was Stu Hart up in Canada doing Stampede?
Yes. Yep.
Okay. So yeah,
And the guys would wrestle all these different territories. They would travel around and work with each other, but they weren't like, they were all independent, and it was just a different era of wrestling. And there was a guy named Jack Atkinson. Adkinson,
yeah,
I think I'm pronouncing it right. Yeah. And his story is kind of interesting, right? Because he got started in pro wrestling, and he ended up in the Northeast, and that's where the character he became of Fritz von Erich. And he sort of became a heel, and he was the patriarch of what became the von Erich family of wrestlers. And in this movie, he's played by Holt McCalleny, and I love Holt McCalleny. He is such a great actor and such a great presence, and he fits this character kind of perfectly in my mind.
He was so funny that you bring up casting, because I was talking to my co-host Scott earlier, and I told him that I want to talk about casting on this show, because the casting for this movie was either like spot on or just dead wrong in my eyes, in my opinion.
You know what? I kind of agree, actually. Because when they got it right, like Holt McCalleny is Fritz. He embodied that. The opening of the movie is him wrestling, and I like that we opened up in a black and white scene, and it's him wrestling.
Yeah.
He looks like an old school, older professional wrestler, right? Like he has that sinewy like look to him where you could just tell this is somebody who's been doing this for a while. I like that. And Holt McCalleny too has this ability to, like, he's very charismatic and he's very likable, and he seems like he is just a genuinely nice person, but he can play a bastard so well.
He's such a piece of shit in this movie.
And Fritz is terrible. In this movie, just an awful, like, overbearing, terrible to his kids type of guy, and he brings that to this character where, like, you understand why the boys all want to make him proud, but also at the same time want to just punch him in the face the whole time.
Like his heart's in the right place, but the way he goes about pushing them is just like, don't be that dad.
Right. Exactly. So yeah, that was the first piece of casting and the opening of the movie, and it's very slow-mo and just showing the wrestling part of it. And then him coming out, and there's his wife and two boys at the time, and his wife, Dottie or Doris, played by Maura Tierney. She was fantastic to me.
I thought she was fantastic as well, yes.
She did so much in this movie with so little dialogue. And because she's not in a ton of scenes, but every scene she is in, she just owns it and does so much with just looks. And I loved that. And she's great. Maura Tierney is a wonderful actor. And I think she was cast very well because she is strong, but she also, like, Dottie kind of knows she can't really go against Fritz. She can't go against him. Like, even it's not going to do any good.
Even when in one of the opening scenes, like, I think it was Michael von Erich. I think that was the youngest one.
Yeah. Yep. Mike.
Like the dad's going real hard on him and everything, and then Kevin von Erich goes up to his mom and says, "Hey, can you talk to Dad? He's pushing Mike a little too hard." And the instant response was just like, "That's what your brothers are for.
Yeah,
like, you're supposed to take care of that. Like, not me, not your dad. Like, you boys are supposed to be leaning on each other at all times."
Mm-hmm. And I think, like, too, like that opening when he comes out from his wrestling match and there's the boys and there's her and she's pregnant with, another kid. It's a great moment because he's so happy to see them, and, he did well and the boys loved it, but she didn't watch any of it because it's not her thing. But yet she's there to support him, and they walk out and he's got this new car. And they're living out of this Airstream trailer. That's their house. And that line was amazing. What is this thing attached to our house?
Yeah.
And it's when you realize like, oh, they literally drive place to place and just live there at this point.
Yep.
And it's kind of the idea of like, you hear him say like, the promoter told me if I want to be a star, I got to I live like a star.
Yeah.
Which,
And that was the norm back then.
oh, absolutely.
So,
but it's just crazy to think that because, and for my non-wrestling fans out there, there's a thing called kayfabe, and that is because pro wrestling is predetermined, it is scripted in a lot of ways. Obviously, people will go off script, and what they're doing in the ring, they're really doing. But kayfabe was the idea of upholding or keeping the story going.
Mm-hmm.
So that was where the face and the heel, the good guys and the bad guys, didn't hang out outside of work, even if they were friends, and a lot of them were.
Yeah. Like if you saw like back in the day, if you saw Hulk Hogan out in a bar and Yokozuna out in the bar, they were gonna, act like they hated each other, even though they were probably best of friends.
That was the one. One of my favorite stories of that I always think of right away is I think it was it Rob Van Dam when he was out. They were driving from one location to another, and he and somebody got, I think it was Sabu, so this would have been ECW era. They got pulled over and were caught with like possession of marijuana or something. But the thing in the wrestling world that was the big deal was those two were rivals at the time, but they're riding in the car together. So
yeah. I mean, and then later on, they became one of ECW's great tag teams.
Yeah. But no, I love this opening, and like, so he's got to keep up that appearance, and immediately Dottie goes from like, this is the first time we meet her, but it's the whole thing of like, I'm not even going to ask how much it was. All right, how much was it? Like, she's very pragmatic and thinking about that. And he's like, oh, I got to do this. It's part of the job.
Mm-hmm.
And, for her to fall right into like saying a little prayer, which to me, I read that as, I'm going to say this prayer so that I don't attack this man. Like,
right.
Try to claw his eyes out.
That's the way I look at it.
And you've got, little Kevin in the back seat watching this happen. And this is that. It's a very powerful opening. I really enjoyed that opening moment. Before we meet Kevin as an adult now. And so Kevin Von Erich, the oldest, well, we'll find out, not the oldest, but is played by Zac Efron. I liked him in this a lot.
I liked him a lot in this as well. I was a little taken back about how much I liked him in this movie. Because normally when I see Zac Efron, I think the last Zac Efron movie I saw was Neighbors.
Okay, yeah.
So like that's what I think of when I think of Zac Efron. I think of just bro-y, douchey type of person, type of humor, type of person. And then I think of High School Musical.
Yeah. Yep. And that's it, right? High School Musical, Baywatch, all these things that he has done. Neighbors, you mentioned, or what was the other one? What was the one he did with De Niro, Bad Grandpa?
Oh yeah, Bad Grandpa.
And so you think of him for that. And this is one of those movies where it's like, you can tell he really wanted to do this role. Like, he must have read this script and been like, I want to do this, and put himself into it. And not just from a physical standpoint, which I'm going to get to in a second, but just his performance throughout. This really impressed me because I've never been the biggest Zac Efron fan. Because of all those things, it's just that douchey frat bro kind of thing doesn't super appeal to me, but he's so good. So good all the way through, right up to the end. And he plays this character well. And Kevin, being the de facto oldest brother now and the one taking care of everybody. And he just cares so much about his brothers and about his family. But it's breaking him down. And the idea of the curse is getting to him. It's wearing on him. So, and then from a physical standpoint, he looked the part of a pro wrestler.
Oh my God. He looked ripped as shit. Like, he could have played Chris Benoit, really, if they ever did like a Chris Benoit movie, which I don't know if they ever will, because God knows if wrestling fans, but non-wrestling fans, look it up if you want. I don't really know.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was jacked for this movie.
And like
All of them were.
he's always been in really good shape.
Yeah.
But he's always been a lot
But
more svelte, just
Yeah.
very toned. And here he not only was incredibly toned, but bulky.
yeah,
And to the point where like even his face was almost a different shape. Like that, and that is a thing people don't think about when you put on weight and you do that kind of bodybuilding. And that's basically what he was doing was bodybuilding for this role. Your entire body changes, including your neck and your face if you work out that way. And his face was bigger, wider, more squared off. But yeah, it was a physical transformation that was just incredible. And it worked. And it worked for the character, and he used it. The way he moved, felt like he had really put a lot into this. And doing all the wrestling scenes barefoot, which Kevin Von Erich did. I can't imagine.
I will
doing
forever hate that he wrestled barefoot.
that. Well, and the funny thing is, I read that Kevin Von Erich didn't start out going for that route, although he was a fan of Jimmy Snuka, who wrestled barefoot. But I guess
that makes sense.
Early on in his career, he was getting ribbed, and somebody hit his boots on him, so he had to just go out and wrestle barefoot, and then it became his thing.
I did not know that.
So that might be apocryphal, but that's what I read, and I'm going to run with it. I think it's a cool story.
Yeah, good wrestling lore.
It's a unique look. Like he was just out there in like a pair of briefs, and that's it. So
yeah,
and you know what? If I'm Zac Efron and I've put in that much effort and work to get into that kind of shape, I also would probably parade around in nothing but briefs because he spends a lot of this movie in nothing, like in and out of the ring. So we meet him and his brother David, played by Harris Dickinson. I loved David. So David is the tall one.
The tall. Okay. Yeah.
And he was the next oldest. And it's unfortunate that he's out of the movie so much earlier because I loved his performance and I liked him because Kevin is the oldest. Kevin is the one taking care of everybody, but David is very protective of his little brother Mike too.
Yeah.
And Mike being the youngest, also very tall. It is Zac Efron and Jeremy Allen White when we get to him. They're not that tall. So
see, that's what bothered me about the casting. It was mainly like I didn't like that. I love Jeremy Allen White. Like I think he's a great actor. He did great in this movie and everything, but like the casting for him bugged me because I know that like Kerry Von Erich, he's a tall guy. He's like, I think he was like 6.
I think he was 6'2".
He was 6. Yeah, he was a tall guy.
Yeah.
And Jeremy Allen's like 5'7" max.
Yeah. I mean, Zac Efron's 5'8", and he's supposed to be in the movie. They bill him at 6'2". And
like
pro wrestlers were always billed a little taller than they actually are most of the time. Like, that's normal. But yeah, Zac Efron and Jeremy Allen White are definitely 5'7", 5'8", and so you got to make everybody be taller. Like Harris Dickinson playing David, I think, according to his IMDb, I want to say he's like 6'4".
And he just
towered. He just towered over them.
Yeah.
But so you got David and Mike and Carrie, the 4 brothers. Now, big thing about this movie that I read, and I know I'd read this at some point, but I forgot. There was another brother in real life.
Yeah. Yep.
So this movie, here's what I'm going to say. This movie was a rough watch in so much as it's a very sad story. If you don't know the story, the quick version of it is that the Von Erichs, there was a thing going around about the Von Erich curse, right? Because all these terrible things happened to that family. And Fritz or Jack and Doris had 6 kids, 6 boys. Mm-hmm. There was Jack Jr., Kevin, David, Carrie. There was a Chris, and then Mike. Mm-hmm. So we, in this story, meet 5 of them. They omitted Chris. And I did read that for a long time, the director and writer, what was his name? Sean Durkin, had Chris in the script. And ended up taking Chris out because it was too similar to what we were already getting with Mike and Carrie, and it just felt like it was too much. So normally when you get a biopic like these, they amp up some of the drama in order to make it into a film. And in this case, they actually toned it down. They brought us back a little bit from really what happened, because we learn early on. So Kevin, after a match, meets a girl, Pam. And this was, I like Lily James a lot, and I think her casting was fantastic.
Yeah, agreed.
But this first interaction between Pam and Kevin is so hard to watch.
Oh my God.
It's just so awkward.
I was just like, has Kevin never talked to a girl before?
Right? Like,
is this his first time?
Yeah, ever? Because it was rough.
It was very rough.
But we get them out on a date after that at a barbecue joint, which is cool.
Yes.
Very Texas. And,
very Texas.
And here we learn the story of his older brother, because she says to him at one point, where did I had it here?
You have oldest brother syndrome. Yeah, you want to take care of everyone.
Maybe.
Like she pegged it right away. And then for him to respond with like, well, yeah, but I'm not the oldest, because there was Jack Jr. Now, in the movie, we just learned that Jack Jr. died when Kevin was 5. I think he said 5 or 6 years old.
Yeah, I think it was 5.
And that's it. It's left there. I don't know if you want to. Do you know the story of what happened? Or have you read about it?
I looked it up yesterday, but I already forgot because I was so focused on like how the rest of the Von Erichs died.
So Jack Jr.
Did he drown?
Yeah, he was. They were in Niagara Falls, and somehow he got electrocuted and fell into a puddle.
Oh my God.
And drowned.
Gosh.
And it was just like, I was like, oh. So I'm glad they left that out of the movie, to be honest.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, again, they toned things down to make because really, if you read this about this family, it almost doesn't feel like it really happened, in some ways. Like, it feels like somebody wrote these stories, but
just horrific stories.
So that was Jack Jr. and it's so I cannot imagine being parents and having a small child like that pass away. So terrible accident there. Kevin is now the oldest. Carrie is off training for the Olympics. Carrie was, I believe he was actually training to do the Olympics. In reality, but the timeline's also a little odd in the movie compared to
I thought that
life.
as well. I thought that was a little weird. The whole Olympic getting canceled, like it made sense and everything. And I was born in '88, so this was before my time. But yeah, I thought I was just like, this doesn't seem right, like historically.
Yeah, it did happen. The U.S. did boycott the 1980 Summer Olympics. They were going to be in Moscow, and they did. But the movie makes it feel as though Carrie was focused solely on that, and then came home, and then a little while later, Fritz said, "I want you to start wrestling." In reality, Carrie started wrestling in like '78.
Okay.
All of the boys wrestled. In fact, Mike did wrestle, and Mike did, I think, play some guitar, but he wasn't really in a band. He wasn't the black sheep sort of as much as he's portrayed. Like there's just some things with the movie that they changed for the story that I don't know that I would have done. Like for instance, David was married in real life.
Okay.
And David had a daughter who passed at 1 year old.
Oh my God.
So again, like I'm saying, it's so what happened is so much more tragic to this family.
Yeah.
But David was married. Carrie was married and had 2 daughters.
Okay.
One of whom actually, I think, wrestled for a little while. And Mike was married and then not. Got divorced like a year later. And the other brother, Chris, did wrestle as well. So all the boys wrestled
Yeah.
at one point or another. So, but yeah, it's just what happened to them was tragic. But everything in the movie did happen. Maybe not in the order or exactly as it's portrayed. Like, so Carrie was in a or a motorcycle accident. And I think what I read was it was around that time. I think it was like 1986. He was in the motorcycle wreck, dislocated his hip and messed up his leg, but they didn't amputate it right away. Like it's portrayed in the movie, where he basically we see him go out for the ride and then he's got no foot. The timeline on that was a little different. Like he came back from his injury too quickly, and then they had to amputate the foot. But
see, during that scene of him on his bike and just flooring it down the tollway and everything, I thought for sure, like I was just like, is this how they're gonna kill him? Because like if they kill him through like an accident or like a bike accident or drinking and driving or something, that's not what happened to him.
No.
But then the next scene you see him get up and he only has one foot and everything. I was like, okay.
And I completely forgot that Kerry Von Erich had only one foot, because this is before his short stint in the WWF in the early 90s.
Right.
By that point, he was already using a prosthetic foot and wrestling, which is nuts to me to think that he was doing that.
During that time and everything, insane to do.
To do it at all, and at the level that he did, because he was...
Yeah, the level that he's doing it, and to do it for Vince McMahon.
Yeah.
I mean, because those like, you're, as a wrestler, when you're wrestling, at least for WWF at that time, you're wrestling every single night. Just, that's how you make your money. That's how you get your push. That's how you get noticed.
Yeah.
You have to be wrestling out there every single night. It's not like that anymore, but back then, that's how it was.
Well, and even in the territory days, you had to do that, because you would, like, there's a few times in this where they talk about, send the boys out and then bring them home on Saturday and we'll do our... Because they're the world-class championship wrestling, WCCW, that Fritz Von Erich was the guy running. They were early in a lot of, like, high production value televised wrestling. I do like in the movie how, ESPN comes calling, they get on there. I love seeing all of the old graphics and the way they would frame.
The aesthetics were like spot on, I thought. Like anytime they showed like a match or anything, I was like, that's what it looked like back then.
That was that was the TV presentation at the time. So like that was all great, and I really love that. But it blows my mind every time I think about like what Kerry Von Erich went through, and the fact that he wrestled after losing his foot for as long as he did. And so sadly, it doesn't surprise me that he had problems with painkillers and addiction.
Oh,
if he's in that much pain,
it made sense.
Also, some changes with Mike. I mentioned how like he did play some music, but he wasn't really as much the musician, I guess. But he also he started wrestling, fairly young, and he wrestled for a while. In the movie, they kind of portray it as like he didn't do it, and then after David died and whatnot, then Kevin got Mike to wrestle and got him in the ring, and he kind of gets injured almost immediately in the movie. He had wrestled for a while before that. But the injury was real. He did injure his shoulder, although the shoulder injury happened in a tour of Israel while wrestling.
Oh, damn.
Not at home.
I did not know that.
But it was a shoulder injury. He did get toxic shock syndrome from 107-degree fever and all of that. But he also, after that, was in a car accident.
Was that how he got his brain damage, or
yes,
did he get
it was the car accident?
Okay.
So they kind of compressed it a little bit, which makes sense in a movie, but also it makes sense for the runtime of the movie. But at the same time, what really happened is so much more tragic. Like it's just,
I mean,
kills you.
Again, they lighten it up. Like to think that this was a light version of the Von Erich family is just
madness.
So sad. Yeah.
Now, Jeremy Allen White, like we said, he was great. He did it. Carrie in this is very kind of withdrawn, and he's a little. The one thing I did not I didn't buy it as much was the rivalry or the confrontations between Kevin and Carrie in the last half of the movie.
Okay. Yeah. No, it just seemed like two brothers being just bickering. You know,
Yeah, and it just
like
felt it felt rushed and forced. There was a few things like that. There was
Yeah.
also the moment with Mike when he's sitting with his mom. And first of all, I love when we meet Mike, he's like, I can eat more than everybody. Because he was still probably 17 at the time. And like
Yeah,
I've
yeah.
been that kid.
he was. Yeah. Oh, for sure.
He had when they pick him up from his little band practice in the garage, and the first thing he's like is
I'm starving. Can we get burgers on the way?
they're on their way somewhere, but he wants to stop for food. I've done that. Like
Yeah.
when I was younger, I could just eat and eat and eat. So there's all that, but then later on, after his injuries and everything, he's not eating as much anymore, and he's not as fast, and he's really lost. And it's him, the whole thing of him being like, I'm not David.
Right.
That was a pressure that apparently Mike did deal with.
I mean, I totally get that. I mean, just because the dad pressured the boys so much into, he almost pressured them so much because he almost failed as a wrestler
Mhm.
because he never got his championship belt,
Right.
and that's all he wanted for his boys. And I thought it was a little messed up, like when they're all sitting at breakfast and the dad goes like, my favorites go in this order, and he names all the boys and everything, and it's interchangeable. I was like, dude, that's so fucked up.
Oh, I
Like-
captured that because it's one thing to think that, it's another thing to say it to the boys.
To
When he
say
says, yeah. I mean, and he literally just says it right out loud.
Now, we all know Carrie's my favorite, then Kev, then David, then Mike. But the rankings can always change. Everyone can work their way up or down.
Like, who says that to their kids?
And I'm pretty sure he's talking to Mike when he's saying that. So he's pretty much telling Mike, like, I don't like you. Like,
Yeah.
I like you, but you're at the bottom. You're at the bottom.
Yeah, and that's
So
just
like, as a son, I would just be like, well, fuck my life.
right. But not only that, like that's going on, and Doris is in the kitchen, 10 feet
Just-
away, hearing this, and you have to know that's bothering her, but she doesn't say anything.
But she doesn't do anything.
And then it's after that when Kevin comes to her like, Dad's being too hard on Mike, and she says, look, you've got to deal with that. That's between you guys. And her arc I did like, because by the end of the movie, there's that scene with her and Mike sitting there eating, and she starts talking about, I painted that picture.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And that's her kind of starting to realize, like, I really need to do my thing.
Right.
And so
I was
that ending,
I was happy that she started painting again, and
Mhm.
oh yeah, her story is beautiful, I thought.
honestly, I'd watch a whole movie just on her.
Yeah,
Her
they
art and
should
her
they
story.
should yeah they should make just a movie based on her life.
A couple other casting things. There's some more wrestlers that get that show up here and there. Now it's tricky, right? Because at some point along the way, and I don't remember exactly when it was, the Von Erichs sold all of the TV rights and rights of stuff for WCCW to Vince McMahon and the WWF, WWE. So things like they couldn't use the old World Championship Wrestling, or they couldn't use the logo. They had to have like a stock generic logo. And for wrestlers that showed up here and there, it was kind of interesting. So we did get Bruiser Brody.
Yep.
And I thought the guy that got to play Bruiser Brody looked the part.
Yes, agreed. Agreed.
I would have liked more Bruiser Brody in the movie, but that wasn't the story we were telling. So
Yeah.
his story, though, his real life story is also very tragic.
Yes.
He was stabbed in the locker room after a match, which is just nuts.
A lot of the wrestlers back then have just sad, wild stories.
Yeah, it was. I mean, that is a business that's already difficult, and you put it back then where there isn't. I mean, it is kind of the Wild West. and they're
Yeah,
traveling
it
so
was-
much, and you're going into other people's territory, and it gets very becomes a pissing match, and guys don't want to lose to other guys and look weak, but also you gotta play the game a little bit. Like I can't imagine what that would have been like. But yeah, I thought that the guy playing Bruiser Brody, Kazi Lewis Serahino, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing his last name right, but he looked the part to me.
Yeah.
I did. I noticed the Sheik in the opening match with Kevin.
I thought that was a Sheik.
I was like, that's got to be
just
the
based off his boots. Based off his boots.
Harley Race. Kevin Anton plays Harley Race. So Kevin Von Erich's first like real big match in the movie is he's getting a non-title shot, but he's getting a non-title match with Harley Race, who is the champion at the time. And I thought the guy they had play Harley Race looked pretty good.
Spot on.
Like
spot on.
Because Harley Race was that guy who he looked like an old mason or an old plumber.
Right.
You know, he was the kind of dude where you knew his hands were just like chunks of concrete hitting people.
Yeah.
And but he wasn't ripped, right?
He wasn't ripped at all. Like he didn't look like a wrestler, to me, because wrestlers always look like Kevin Von Erich or just, big bulky guys.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and he looks like the old school wrestler for sure. But I thought the guy playing him was good. I thought he did a very good Harley Race impersonation.
Yes.
And
I love who they got for Harley Race.
I'm trying to think. There was some of the other wrestlers we saw in here were the Freebirds.
The Freebirds. I thought they did a good job with them. The only one I didn't really like was Ric Flair.
So that
who
was
they got for Ric Flair.
Yeah,
was
same.
That was horrendous. Terrible work.
He didn't look
awful
the part,
work.
but he didn't
sound
sound the part. Yes, that was my problem. Like it was one thing to not look exactly like Ric Flair. It's fine. He had the blonde hair, whatever, but his promo as Ric
was
Flair
awful. That was the worst Ric Flair promo I've ever seen in my life.
Because you've got like the only wrestling promos we saw in this were Kevin failing, kind of not hitting his promo, the pre-taped one, which I liked that because that set us up for when David takes over and becomes the mouthpiece
in the ring. Yeah. Yep.
And then, but the Harley Race promo was great. And then we don't have another one for a while. I think between the Harley Race promo and the Ric Flair one, we had just the group one when they're having their 6-man tag team, which was awesome. Yeah. That was such a good one. But then you get Ric Flair out there and I was like, what is this? This is terrible.
Oh my God.
My God. Right down to him trying to do the Ric Flair woo, which I'm sorry. If you have Ric Flair, you have to have somebody that can do a woo that at least sounds like Ric Flair. And this was him in the match. That's not even close. That's awful. I could probably do a better Ric Flair, and I do a terrible Ric Flair.
Same.
So, Now, I did love the moment after that Ric Flair match when he came into the locker room, which...
Oh, yes.
Back then, they would have had separate locker rooms, and it probably wouldn't have gone down that way. But I loved him coming in. And, of course, it's Ric Flair, so he's bleeding.
Right.
But he comes in being like, dude, that was crazy. I'll give you a rematch anytime. Like, I liked that because...
Yeah.
I think that's the other thing that I felt like I wanted more of in this movie was the pro wrestling side of things.
Right. Like I like that we got a lot of stuff outside of the rings, but like my favorites, like some of my favorite scenes were of the aesthetic and how it looked inside the ring.
Yeah. Or even like there's a moment before the first tag team match with Kevin, and it's David's debut, which again, timeline wise, in real life, David had been wrestling for a few years by this point. But David's debut match in the tag team, and you got the four of them, they're backstage getting ready to go out, and they're talking it out. And they're like,
yeah.
And
because that's what they did.
There was a IMDb goof that said like, "Oh, wrestlers didn't do that back then. They didn't talk out." Like, no, some of them probably did.
No,
There was
some-
definitely
yeah,
wrestlers
like,
that would.
They had each wrestler has like a different style of how they want to set up for the matches. Some like practice their actual moves on each other before the match happens. Other times they simply just talk it out before they get out there. Then they just do their thing.
Yep. And sometimes they call them in the ring, whatever.
And then
it all
sometimes they
depends.
call
But
it in the ring.
I love
Yeah.
that moment. That was great.
Yeah,
because,
that was awesome.
because it's Brody and Gino and Kevin, and they know it's David's first match. And they want it to be a good match, which makes sense. These are all guys from the same territory. They all work together. This isn't to have that and then contrast that with the Kevin Von Erich Harley Race match, which feels more antagonistic because Harley Race is coming into the territory.
Yeah.
And this is Kevin having to prove himself. So I get that part of it. And from a dramatic standpoint, it makes sense. But I loved that kind of thing. And I loved sort of the background of the business of wrestling and all of that. And they did it so well. I just wish Ric Flair had been better. It hurt. It hurt watching
that Ric Flair promo was just a joke. It was like they pulled someone in off the street and just said, "Hey, you have blonde hair, you look the part, just read this."
Considering like how good the Harley Race guy looked, how much the guy playing Michael P. Hayes looked. Like
Michael Hayes looked like perfect.
Yeah, him and Terry Gordy too.
Yeah.
They looked the part. So it felt like they didn't have enough time, or the guy that was playing it really wanted to play Ric Flair. And
maybe Rick has something in his, like, maybe Rick is such a son of a bitch that he doesn't want his likeness on camera or something.
Who knows?
Who knows?
I do find it funny also that the Freebirds are in the credits just as the Fabulous Freebirds. They don't.
Are they? I
individual
didn't
names.
notice that.
But like Harley Race is and everything else. So it's funny that way.
That's funny.
But yeah, you get like, it's this kind of rise and fall. But Kevin's story throughout all of it, because all of this horrible stuff is happening, and his dad is basically telling him and all of the boys at every turn, like, you can't show emotion.
Right.
You can't. And this trauma is just
wild to say.
So that was why, I mean, I'm going to say right now, the end of this movie had me in tears, because I'd gone through this journey with Kevin Von Erich's character in the movie. So by the time he's sitting there watching his boys play in the yard, and he's broken away, right? He's no longer tied to the wrestling family business in this story.
Right. It's almost like the curse has been lifted almost.
Yeah. Well, and you get the moment that it happened too, which is brilliant, because so he is the oldest, and he's the first one to get a shot, and it doesn't go well. And it doesn't go well because, like, he got suplexed onto concrete and couldn't move for a minute. Like, that scene was rough. For the way that scene goes. Go ahead.
I wasn't sure if, like, he was like working the spot or not when he got suplexed.
Right.
But then after a while, when he was laying there, after, like, you could tell the spot was over and he should have gotten up by then, that he was, like, legit hurt. And then to see his dad in the locker room kind of give him shit for it, I was like, dude.
Oh yeah. Oh, when
such a piece of shit.
When he tells him, what did he say? He tells him you took too long getting up.
Yeah.
That's the first thing he says to him. He walks into the locker room after the match and literally,
"You were long getting up."
Not, "Are you okay?"
Not like, "Hey, good match out there." Or
yeah, good match, or
just,
what happened. It was, you took too long. Like, and here he is wrapped up, and he's got his brother there trying to help him and console him and all of that. Because you think about that from Kevin's standpoint, he just blew his shot, is what he's going to feel like. And he had the wind taken out of his sails by his brother kind of taking over. And David's just trying to help. And that's the thing, right?
Yeah.
You've got Kevin who wants to take care of everyone. And Pam nails him on that right away. And David wants to help so much. but he does so like when we're introduced to him, it is him defending Mike from his dad. Where his dad's like, you got to
Yeah.
put some weight on. He's like, I'll be there to protect you. Don't worry, little brother. Like,
Yeah.
he was a great older brother to Mike, and he's now playing that role for Kevin after that Harley race match. In a way, he just wanted to help him. But like Kevin just goes through the ringer throughout the movie.
Yeah, seriously.
Because then David starts wrestling, and David kind of takes over, and he jumps him in the pecking order.
Mm-hmm.
And that moment where we see that happening is heartbreaking, where they've just won the 6-man tag team because they bring Kerry in, they win the tag team, and their dad in the ring says David's the next one in line to go after the championship. And you see Kevin just crestfallen.
He does, and he doesn't even hide it.
Nope.
Like he right then and there, that's when it starts like slipping with Kevin. Like everything starts slipping with Kevin, just mentally. Like you can tell everything starting from that point, starting to eat him alive.
Yeah. And just to think like in this story, they strap the rocket to David and they say, okay, you're going to be the one. We're going to, and you know, later on in the locker room, and his dad's like, you're getting your shot. They want to put you in a program with Flair. You're going to travel around. You're going to feud with him. You're going to go here. You're going to do that. We're going to get you more seasoning. And then you go to Japan. And when you come back, you get your title shot.
Yep.
And Kevin is both happy for his brother, but also like he's upset. And understandably so, because he wasn't like, it was just taken from him. He wasn't part of the whole plan.
Plus that's his dream. His dream is to, you know, live in a house with his brothers and be world champion.
Yeah. Yeah. Meanwhile, you've got the dad. Fritz is so hell-bent on somebody bringing that belt home because he never got the belt. Like he constantly, and in the way he words it every time, it's always, you're bringing it home for us. You know, it'll be in our family. He's living vicariously through his boys.
Yeah, exactly.
And
it drives me crazy.
Oh,
it drives me insane.
Just the amount of pressure he puts on them too. When he first tells Kevin he's getting his title shot, and it's like, you've got the chance to bring the belt home for you know, I've wanted that in this house for so long, and now's your chance. It's like, okay, no pressure there at all. You know, and now it's David, you've got the chance. You're going to bring it home for us. It's like, okay, no pressure. Like, no wonder they were, you know.
Well, even when Kerry was in WWF and he got the Intercontinental Championship, like that scene where Kerry comes home for, I think is it Christmas?
Yeah, it's Christmas.
So, it's Christmas, and his dad goes like, when are they going to strap on the World Championship for you? Like, like, dude, he has 1 foot.
Right? He's 1 foot, and he just won a championship.
And he
like,
just won he won the in my book, anyways, as a wrestling fan, the Intercontinental Championship means more than the World Championship, because that means the IC Championship always is the working man's championship. Like you went through the ringer to get that.
Yeah, that was always
yourself to get that.
That was the IC Championship. I always remember as being the one that is the best wrestler.
Yes.
Not necessarily the best, the most popular.
On the mic,
but it was the best combination of everything. That's why it was on guys like Ricky the Dragon Steamboat and Macho Man.
And,
you know, the Bret Hart and those kinds of wrestlers.
Yeah.
That put
Mr.
that kind of work in.
Perfect.
Yep.
Like
Kerry Von Erich.
Kerry Von Erich.
I mean, dude had ability. Also, that was a good chance for Fritz to like give SmackDown Kevin for what he was doing, because by this point,
because
Kevin in the movie owns the wrestling company. His dad's retired, which that was a thing.
I thought Kerry sold it by then. I thought he sold it to Jeff Jarrett's dad.
Not
then,
yet. He was contemplating it, but he hadn't yet. Okay. And apparently that wasn't really how things went down either. Like that it was Fritz that sold the company and Kevin was against it. That's what I read. Again, could be apocryphal. Who knows the true story? But like, you know, he wants to compliment Carrie at Christmas while also detracting from Kevin. Again, playing that pecking order thing, right? Having his favorites. He's just, he was terrible. He was terrible.
Just
And Carrie at this point is not in a good place.
he's a wreck. He's a shell of himself, I would say.
Yeah. Well, and you look at like his life too. He in this movie, he's got Olympic aspirations. That's taken away from him. So he gets into wrestling. Cool. No big deal. He starts doing that. He's doing well. Loses a brother. Starts doing some things. Gets a little ways. Loses his foot. Loses another brother because we didn't touch on the fact that Mike, after his injuries and everything.
Oh yes.
He also passes. He takes his own life.
Yeah.
This movie is heavy. I'm telling you right now, this movie is heavy. And then Carrie has dealt with all of that, and now he's on the outs with the WWF, but he's not really telling them yet.
Yeah.
And in real life, it was partially because of his problems with drug addiction and painkiller addiction, and I think he'd had an arrest or two as well.
I mean,
at the time,
probably.
kind of makes sense. So he's spiraling, and he reaches out to Kevin. The whole sequence from Christmas on, like this movie had already been kind of beating me into the ground, and then the Christmas thing happens, and Carrie shows up with some girl and gives his dad the Christmas gift, which was a Smith & Wesson.
The most Texan thing ever.
Yep. Oh yeah. Yeah. Look, if you didn't know this was set in Texas, the movie was not shy about letting you know it was Texas. But he does all of this, and then we kind of smash cut to him calling Kevin in the middle of the night, spiraling out. And Kevin wants to help, and he's trying to. And then calls his dad to say, like, Carrie's not in a good place. And for his dad to be like,
dad's such a piece of shit. It's on you.
You boys got to
That's
work
what you're
that
there
out.
for. Yeah,
What?
like, dude? Like, one of your sons is spiraling and like literally told me like he's not going to make it, and he just wants to be with his other brothers, by the way, which are dead.
Yeah.
Like, and your response as a father is just like, you guys got to figure it out yourself.
Yeah. I mean, it's the emotional equivalent of rub some dirt on it. You'll be fine.
Yeah, exactly. Walk it off.
So, then, Kevin does rush to the house. He goes back to the family house, and he gets there too late, and Carrie takes his own life as well, which did happen that way, although it was Fritz that found him, not Kevin in reality. But then Kevin just snaps on his dad. And I honestly wasn't 100% sure if they were going to have him choke him out or not.
I thought for sure. I was like, oh, this is how his dad dies. Like, he kills his own dad. Like, rightful. And in my eyes, I was like, it's justified.
Yeah, well, especially because he gets there and he's yelling at him that you didn't protect him, you didn't take care of him, you didn't take care of any of us. And he's like, he called you and you didn't do anything. Yes, he did. He tried to find out where he was, and then he called you and said, watch out for him. He's probably coming home.
He's
but
oh my God.
But as hard and as heavy as this movie is, Kevin had two moments of great realization. The first one was right after the Ric Flair match.
Yeah. That Ric Flair match was like, after that scene of him doing the Iron Claw on Flair and everything, and him not breaking the hold or anything, I had to look up. Like, I went straight on my phone and was like, was that botched? Was he supposed to break it? Or was that part of the show of him like snapping almost? Because before the match, like, you could tell that he was starting to slip a little bit mentally.
Yep.
With all the deaths and everything. And, he was just, the curse was weighing on his mind so much.
Yeah. Yeah, and he's not going home. He's not going back. Like, his wife is at their apartment with their child, and he's sleeping in the office. And at Carrie's, it was at Mike's funeral.
Yeah, it was at Mike's. Mike
where
just died.
Pam comes up to him like, "Are you coming home tonight?"
Yeah.
So this has been going on for a while.
Yeah.
He's just spiraling. And yeah, that. So what did you find when you looked up the Ric Flair thing?
Honestly, all Google showed me was just the history of matches that
Okay.
Kevin and Rick had together. So I didn't find much. I
Um,
would really like to know if that was planned or not.
And either way, like in the context of the movie, it works, right? Because
I
Kevin
thought it
is-
was botched, and he just snapped.
yeah. Well, and that's what works so well in the movie is that in that context, he definitely did, right? He snapped, he went too far, but Flair thought it was awesome
Yeah,
because
worked.
it
Worked
worked
out.
so well and the crowd loved it.
Mhm.
And, you know, this is much like Harley Race earlier. This is Flair coming in as the invading member.
Yeah.
And he's the heel and all of that. So, like, it worked. Everything was great. But that moment of Kevin sitting there and it was him realizing I've broken the curse for me in a way.
Mm.
Like, I'm not tied to this anymore like I thought I was because this would
Yeah.
have been my shot. And I had the opportunity. It was right there. And I chose, whether it was conscious or not at the time, I chose not to.
Mm.
Because he had the title right there. Because it was a title match. And he
Yeah.
chose not to do it. And that was him breaking away from
Okay.
the whole thing that his dad had been drilling into him for his entire life. And you just see that washing over his face, which is why it's great that we then cut right to him waiting for the kids to get off the bus.
Oh yeah.
And it's like, oh, awesome. He went home
Yep.
and, you know, I guess it's not him waiting for the kids. It's him going to the apartment and she's on the phone. And
Oh
him
yeah.
knocking on-
Yeah.
But like, that was him breaking out of that.
Mm.
And so for him to break out of that and he's coming out of everything and then Carrie goes.
Yep.
And so that was the second time for him was having to say goodbye to Carrie. And now he has had to say goodbye to all of his brothers. And we do get the moment where Carrie meets up with Mike and Dave in the afterlife. He gets on the boat.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Which was beautiful.
Yeah.
It was a very touching moment, right up to even him like meeting little Jack Jr. as a little kid. But we get all of that, and we get Kevin gets to say goodbye to Carrie, and
Yeah.
then that final moment of him with his two boys later, and just sitting there watching them, and Kevin starts crying, and throughout the whole movie, it's always every turn, every bad thing that's happened, it's been Fritz telling him like, "Don't cry, don't show any emotion, push that down. We're not allowed to. We got to be stronger. We got to be tougher." And all of that. And for him to just break down like that was really, really emotional. And it's then when the boys come up to him, it's what he says to them. I used to be a brother and now I'm not anymore. Oh,
Yeah. And yeah, that was God.
like just,
Yeah, that was heart wrenching. Yeah, that was heart wrenching. I mean, I'm a brother. Are you a brother?
I am not by blood.
Okay.
But just to feel like, again, 6 boys in that family. One dies at a very young age. The others all get to adulthood in real life, and all of them, like David. David dies while in Japan, on tour, and then you have Mike and Carrie, and in real life, Chris also.
Yeah, I heard that. I heard that the reason why they did 4 instead of 5 brothers was with Mike they kind of combined 2 into 1. I don't know how true that is.
Yeah,
Just
I'm not
what I
sure.
heard.
There probably was a little bit of that. And the other thing that I read was the director saying like it was for the pacing of the film, it got a little repetitive to have
Right.
like because you have
He's a wrestler and he's a wrestler and he's a wrestler.
Right.
And he's a wrestler kind of thing. Yeah.
and you've already dealt with, David dies while on tour, Mike wanders off, right? Takes a bunch of
just
pills
dies on the
and wanders
ranch or
away.
whatever. Yeah.
And Carrie dies by gunshot. And so to do that again with Chris in a similar circumstance, they
I
felt
would
like
just be like, dude, that's too much.
Yeah.
That's too much.
Yeah, the fact again that they had to tone things down to, because it doesn't. You talk it out and it's like this couldn't have all happened to the same family, but it did.
Oh, but it
did.
It did.
Which is
God.
just nuts.
I wonder how much like therapy Carrie had to go through. Or no, not Carrie, Kevin.
I don't know. But those boys in the movie, those boys helped him.
Yeah.
Now in real life, Kevin had 4 children, and the boys were the younger ones. But we're streamlining things for the movie, and it makes sense. He had 2 with the 3rd on the way by the end of this movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's this is in the category of movies for me. Like, I'm really glad I saw this because again, I knew sort of the ideas behind it, and I knew the basics of the story. And if you have spent any time watching pro wrestling, you've heard Von Erich as a name somewhere. But to really dive into it and kind of learn a lot more about the family and just what happened, it's heartbreaking. And not to mention just everything that went on, like business wise with them, because they owned a promotion and getting bought up, and just the way that all went is so much. But this falls into that category of like, I'm really glad I saw this movie. I'm not in a rush to watch it again.
No, not at all. Like, I thought about watching it this morning, just right before I hopped on and everything. I thought about watching it, but then I was just like, no, I'm not in the mood to like watch something that sad. And I don't think I'll watch it like maybe 5 years from now or something.
Yeah. Because it's moving and it's well directed. I feel like overall, again, there's some things like the I'm not David stuff from Michael in the movie, in the context of the movie, feels a little forced. Like they just almost like they had a bullet point they had to get to. Like we've got to have Mike go through this problem, because we just didn't get enough of that. That didn't feel earned, I guess is what I would say. That didn't feel earned, and the fighting between Kevin and Carrie just felt like, well, we've got to have some kind of a rivalry. To me, and I felt like that could have been fleshed out more. But it's well structured. The performances are great. Like I said, we agree on pretty much all of them, including
except Rick.
Yeah, well, and we agree. Ric Flair's the performance of the Ric Flair character is just not good. It's just the wrong person to do it. It happens sometimes. But I thought the music choices were great. They fit the era really well. Get a little Tom Petty in there, a little Blue Oyster Cult. Anytime you play Tom Sawyer from Rush, I'm a happy guy.
Same.
So I did. Oh, the other one I had a note about was, so Mike has his quartet from school, which is great. Like him trying not to tell his mom that he's in a band, a garage band. But he's got his quartet and they've got their gig and it's on the college campus, and her being like, no, not allowed. You're not old enough to go to a college campus on a Saturday night. And all the boys are like, we'll take him. It's fine. No, smash cut. They're sneaking out. That was fine. But when they get to the party, my only real problem with that was they get to the party, his band is playing. We've got the great song that they're playing. And we're watching them watch him play his song. But then we cut to Carrie's over here doing keg push-ups, and Kevin and Pam are hanging out on the couch before they sneak off, and the same song is still going. And then we cut back to him, and he's still playing the song. Either that is a 15-minute long prog rock song, or just the pacing of that scene. It threw me a little bit because I'm like, really? He's still playing that song?
Maybe it's the only part of the song he knows. Maybe that's the whole song.
His band's got one song, and we're just gonna play it on repeat, everybody. But no,
same chords.
Yeah, I liked it. I do. Again, I love diving into an industry like pro wrestling because I think it's fascinating. Even if you're not
fascinating,
if you're not into it from just a business standpoint and like an entertainment standpoint, pro wrestling is crazy. And
it's insane. The history of pro wrestling is also insane.
Yes.
It's insane.
Absolutely. And I wish, in some ways, this had been more of that and more of that side of things, but that's not the story they're going for. I also found it interesting that so much of the events of this movie took place off screen. We didn't actually see, like, we saw some wrestling matches, but we see David and everybody at Kevin's wedding, and then we crossfade and David is gone. And he died off screen in Japan. And then we see, Kevin and Carrie are working in the ring, and Mike wanders away, and then he dies off screen. Which that one was powerful for me because they set us up with him like downing almost the whole bottle of pills, and I'm like, But then for him to walk away, and then when it's the cross of the next morning, and it's a wide shot, and we see everybody way off in the background, and we just barely hear them calling for Mike. But Carrie's accident happens off screen. We just see him driving down the road on his motorcycle, and you can just put two and two together. As soon as you see somebody in a movie riding at night on a motorcycle, you're like, well, one of two things is going to happen. And neither of them are probably good. But it was it was interesting to me that so many of these tragic events, we don't actually see them. We're just seeing the aftermath.
Yeah, that's a good point. Now that you mention it, I'm also a little upset about that because like even when like it's not like I want to see them die or anything like that, but like the visual of it would the impact you get of seeing like if you saw Carrie, because I don't know, did Carrie shoot himself in the chest or in the head? He shot himself in the chest.
Yeah, it was in the chest.
Because like all they show is just you hear a gun sound and Zac Efron running over to Jeremy Allen White, and I was just like, oh, did he probably shot himself in the head? But then I thought I saw like a bullet hole like in his chest, but I think it would have been cooler if you saw like the emotion of Jeremy Allen White before you like pulled the trigger and everything. Like you get like the note and the scene of all the brothers welcoming each other into like the afterlife or whatever. But like, I don't know, like the emotion of suicide is insanely powerful.
I think why it worked for me though is because at the end of the day, this is Kevin's story. True. And so we are experiencing things as Kevin would have.
Yeah.
And so when I started thinking about that, it made a lot more sense to me how they structured it. Because Kevin wasn't with David in Japan. So he just finds out about it after the fact. He was racing to get to Carrie, but he wasn't there on time. And so we get the aftermath of it. And that's where I feel like what happened Zac Efron's performance is so good, because for me to feel the emotion that I did by the end of this movie hinges completely on his reactions to and the way he is dealing with all of these events happening without me ever seeing the events that are causing him this grief. And so for Efron to give me all of that emotion is really impressive.
Yeah.
So
I mean, he did such a good job.
He really did. Movie. He impressed me so much here.
I think this is probably his best movie ever.
Oh yeah. Oh,
that I've seen anyways.
Best one I've seen. Yeah. It's him, and it's Maura Tierney, and it's Holt McCalleny. Like those three. And that's taking nothing away from Jeremy Allen White. Or the guys Simon can't remember his name, but the guys that played Mike and David. It's not taking anything away from them, but
no.
Holt McCallany's Fritz, Maura Tierney's Doris, and Zac Efron's Kevin just, own everything they're in. all the way through,
Yeah.
and you just feel so much from all of them. Like I'm just angry at Fritz every single time I see him.
Every single time I see him.
Like, just be a dad. Stop doing whatever it is you're doing, and he doesn't know any better. Which is why his final scene, him and Doris's final scene, is so perfect. Where he walks in he's out doing chores or whatever on the farm.
Yeah.
And he walks in, and the framing of it is great.
Yeah.
Because we can't see her. And we just get what are you doing? I'm painting. And it just holds on that shot. And it's just him being like, he can't process the fact that there's no dinner waiting for him.
Yeah. Like, where's my food? Where is this?
It's just, it was so good. And then the slow pushing, and you see her just painting, and she doesn't even look at him. She just keeps painting, doing her thing. And you're like, yep, that's that relationship's probably done too.
Yep.
Because, we just got to add one last little splash of gasoline on the Von Erich fire.
Yeah.
But it was a good choice. It was a very good choice for a movie.
Very, very good choice. I have to give a shout out to my co-host on my podcast, Scott Berman, because he's the one who kind of told me like, hey, you like wrestling. Have you seen this movie? And I told, obviously I told him like, I know the Von Erichs. I've seen like the trailer for this movie, but like, I know how it ends and it's going to be sad as shit. Like, why would you, for this movie, I was very excited to watch it, but at the same time, I was dreading it because I knew this was going to be a sad movie. And it's weird for me to say, but I was excited to watch a very sad movie.
It's the same thing happened to me when I watched Monster with Charlize Theron, where like I knew that was going to be a rough movie. I didn't realize how rough it could be, but there was Monster, Leaving Las Vegas with Nick Cage, and this movie all fall in that same category. I think of the three, this is probably number 3 on that list, but it's that same type of thing where like it was phenomenal. And I really enjoyed it, and everything was great about it, and I'm not in a rush to ever watch it again. I'm just like,
yep.
You know what? I'm fine. It's good. I felt those emotions, and now I will go cuddle a dog for a little while and watch a Jackie Chan movie and just reset myself.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
But I
Rush Hour 1 and 2.
Yes, exactly. But I think it's okay to do that to yourself every once in a while, to watch something that challenges you in a way. And look, it's not going to be for everybody, right? If the tragedy could be too much for certain people.
Right.
So I understand that. But for me, it was definitely a ride that was worth taking.
I loved watching. My only real regret after watching this movie was that I didn't see it in theaters.
I could see this have been like a really good one in a theater to watch.
Yeah.
Because again, like in that environment, you are in it, and this movie really draws you in and makes you go through the emotional roller coaster.
Yeah.
And it also, made me read a little bit more about the Von Erich family and kind of learn what really happened and realize that it was even more tragic. So,
oh my God.
Cannot imagine. But they are in the Wrestling Hall of Fame for good reason.
Yes.
Kevin is still out there. I think he is part of AEW Pro Wrestling now in some capacity. So good for him.
I want to say 2 of his sons are in AEW as well.
Yeah, and I did read that he did. Him and Pam have been married for 40 years.
Oh, awesome!
And they did, just like he said in the scene where they're having that date, and he's like, "Well, we could get a ranch and have everybody come and live with us." And they have a ranch, and all their kids and grandkids came and lived with them. So I think that's
when they showed the photo of the entire family.
Yes.
On his ranch, like that got me. Like I was like, oh,
well, because
he finally got what he always wanted.
Yeah, it's
like that's
breaking the cycle.
More than just a belt.
Yeah. Yes, that's truly a thing to aspire to, and it broke the cycle. Like it's very easy, or could have been very easy for Kevin to fall into the cycle of like being like his dad, and he didn't. He broke away from that, and he has a big family, and that picture of the whole family out on the ranch was just great. So, a very sad and tragic story, but has a little bit of an uplifting ending, at least for one person in the family. And it's a really good choice.
Literally just one.
Yeah. But hey, it was a great choice for a movie. So thank you, Scott, for mentioning it to Dan.
Yes.
And,
Yes.
badgering him to come on the show and talking with me about it. So that was awesome.
Yeah.
Now, speaking of Scott, you guys have a podcast. You had me on a little while ago, Horns Over Hoops.
Yes.
So tell people about that.
Me and my co-host, it's me, Scott Berman, and then Sal Galati, aka he goes by Sal Bass. We have a podcast called Horns Over Hoops. It is a basketball podcast where we focus mainly on the Chicago Bulls because we're all in the Chicago suburbs and we've all grown up loving the Bulls.
Sure.
Michael Jordan, how can you go wrong with that? Unless you're a Pistons fan.
I mean, nobody's perfect. It's fine.
That I get. We have episodes out about every Tuesday.
Okay.
You can check us out if you're into basketball or Chicago Bulls. Check us out. Again, it's Horns Over Hoops. We're on Spotify, YouTube, Apple. We're all over the place.
Excellent. Yeah, it was a lot of fun being on there. And just kind of talking. We talked old school Pistons Bulls rivalry and all that kind of stuff. And it's a fun show. So definitely check that out. Horns Over Hoops podcast. Now, if you like this show, I do it every week, save, the occasional cancellation, but 353 episodes and like 355 weeks, I think is a pretty good stretch. And it's usually Sunday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern time. Next week, I've got returning to the show, Jay Funktastic is coming back. We're going to go in a completely different direction. We're going to watch Bullet Train. So we're going to watch something that is just
nice.
Take the brain out, set it down, strap in and enjoy. It's going to be a very different vibe from the Iron Claw. But Jay hasn't seen it yet. I saw it in the theater. I loved it. Oh, my God. So I can't wait.
I thought it was great.
I can't wait to chat with him about that. It's a fun movie. It is just silly,
very,
fun.
very fun.
I love ridiculous action like this.
Did the director of Deadpool do Bullet Train?
Director of the first Deadpool, David Leitch.
The first, okay. Because it has that
or
fun,
second,
violent
Deadpool
kind of vibe.
2. Yep, yeah, Deadpool 2 because it was David Leitch.
Okay,
and it's got Brad Pitt and it's got all sorts of people. Aaron Taylor Johnson. It's going to be a lot of fun. I can't wait to talk about that. And then I have some other fun ones like Street Fighter the movie I'm going to be talking about with somebody because it got mentioned that they hadn't seen it. And I was like, just for Raul Julia alone.
The OG Street Fighter movie.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I'm like, for Raul Julia alone, you must watch this movie. And so.
Yeah, I have not seen the original Street Fighter movie. I'm excited for the new one. The new one looks pretty.
The new one looks like they're nailing it. They're nailing the tone.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Yeah.
So that's what's coming up over the next couple of weeks. Bullet Train and Street Fighter the movie. I gotta mix it up. I gotta have my prestige films and then some schlock. It's called balance.
There you go.
And you can find this show and anything else that I work on at tvstravis.com. That also includes my merch. If you want to get my logo on something for whatever reason. And you can find the link there for the Patreon. Patreon.com/WYHS is what keeps the podcast going, funds things like my upcoming trip to Nerdtacular in June and do the show live there and Dragon Con. So definitely check that out. But Dan, thank you so much for being here. We'll do this again sometime. We'll find another movie.
Oh, for sure.
Maybe one that's a little lighter fare.
A little lighthearted. Yeah.
Little less emotionally devastating next time. Let's go for
next one's going to be The Whale.
Of course. But until next week and Bullet Train, just remember, everybody, to enjoy your movies, even if they are emotionally devastating. And let's be excellent to each other. There's been Wait You Haven't Seen.
Come on, David, I gotta take a dump.
That scene cracked me up.
That's yeah, same. I was like, of course he's jerking it right now.